Your curiosity brought you here, didn't it? Well, prepare yourself for something truly disturbing: the chilling experiments of Unit 731. During World War II, most people think of brutal battles and deadly weapons, but few know about the horrors that took place behind closed doors in a facility known only by its code name, Unit 731. Hidden deep in the fields of Manchuria, Japan's secret biological warfare division carried out unspeakable experiments on living human subjects, all in the name of science, or so they claimed. Victims, mostly Chinese civilians, along with prisoners of war, were brought to this facility under the pretense of medical treatment. Instead, they became subjects in a nightmare. Unit 731's experiments had one primary focus: to push the limits of human endurance and discover how biological weapons could be used in warfare. But the methods were beyond inhumane. One of the most infamous experiments was called the frostbite test. Prisoners were forced to stand barefoot in the freezing cold until their limbs turned black and lost all feeling. Then, without anesthetic, doctors would pour boiling water on the affected area to see how much damage the human body could take before the flesh began to peel away. For some, their hands and feet were simply broken off like brittle twigs. But frostbite was just the beginning. In another experiment, prisoners were deliberately infected with plague, cholera, and anthrax, while doctors monitored the progression of the diseases in real time. Some were tied to posts in open fields as bombs filled with infected fleas exploded around them to test the spread of biological agents. And if that's not horrifying enough, there was vivisection, a gruesome practice where prisoners were dissected alive without anesthesia. The doctors wanted to observe the effects of infections on the internal organs while the body was still functioning. Their screams were ignored, their pain deemed necessary for progress. Of course, none of these experiments were ever truly justified. Thousands died in agony within the walls of Unit 731, their bodies buried in mass graves or burned to hide the evidence. Those who survived rarely spoke of what they saw out of fear or trauma too deep to confront. In the end, the horrors of Unit 731 were buried with the victims, hidden from the world for decades. But the ghosts of those experiments still linger, their stories whispered in the shadows, waiting for the brave or the foolish to uncover them. So, next time you think you've heard the worst of human history, remember Unit 731, and be grateful the shadows aren't telling your story.